He was enjoying a life most people can only imagine.
He won $20 million in the lottery. It was like American dream to me.
But that dream turned into a nightmare.
911, what's your emergency?
We have a homicide.
Did cold, hard cash lead to cold-blooded murder?
Money can put a target on you.
He was known to carry large amounts of cash.
If it wasn't for the money, he'd probably still be here.
Or does money mask a scandalous secret?
This story reads like a Greek tragedy.
But I knew what was going to happen.
They got him to the house, tricked him to come.
It was a trap.
He's screaming, shoot him, shoot him, shoot him.
I heard, and it was blood just squishing out.
It's around 8 o'clock on the evening of July 26, 2005, and the long summer twilight is starting to fade over the small town of Seffner, Florida.
Seffner is to the east of Tampa, a small working class community. It's still a little bit rural.
It's a neighborhood like many others, just a quiet neighborhood.
But on this night, as local resident Curtis Jenkins cleans up after dinner, he looks out his kitchen window and is surprised to see a van speed onto his narrow residential street and come to a stop just outside his house.
It was just kind of unusual because it was a dead-end street.
Curtis is even more surprised when 3 people suddenly pile out.
They just go running out the vehicle in this small-town community. It was just something unusual.
Concerned, Curtis steps out onto his porch.
Hey, what are you all doing down there?
It's okay, we just ran out of gas.
He knew that wasn't true because the car's still running.
He goes back and, finds a neighbor and asks him to come with him to go look in this van and kind of check it out.
He wanted someone to be there with him in case something happened.
As rain begins to fall, Curtis and his neighbor James Ruffalo reach the van and find it difficult to tell what's inside.
I remember him peeking through the windows. They were pretty dark.
Is it unlocked? I think I should. Yeah, just be careful.
Despite their caution, there's little that can prepare Curtis for the gruesome scene that waits inside.
Call 911.
There was blood in the van.
There's a man lying face down in the van with his hands tied.
You could see a hole in the back of his head, which was obviously a gunshot wound.
A van has been abandoned here, and there is a dead body in the car.
Chicago native Jeffrey Dampier came from modest means.
He knew what it was like to grow up poor and not to have anything.
But Jeffrey was always rich in other ways.
He said he had a really good childhood. And his parents are still together.
With his parents' love and support, Jeffrey had big plans for his future.
He always had dreams of owning a business one day.
After high school, Jeffrey was unable to afford college, but was still determined to get ahead.
He went to the military, to the Army, right after high school.
He ended up becoming a mechanic.
Along the way, Jeffrey had a few short-lived relationships. Though they didn't last long, they did give him 2 beautiful sons.
And he was a devoted father. He always supported the children.
After his discharge from the Army, Jeffrey enrolled in a local community college, where he met fellow student Deborah Jackson.
We had to take some basic classes, some math and reading before we can get into our field of study. And I was having a little difficulty in math. And every time the teacher would call on me, he'll shout the answer out because he knew I was having difficulty with it. He saw me struggling with it a lot. And so he would always cover for me.
No, but seriously, where have you been?
I went home, but now I'm back, so.
Okay, well, since you missed class, me being the good friend that I am, I took some notes for you.
Did not.
Soon, Jeffrey was helping the single mother of 4 after class, too.
Jeffrey asked me, can he drive me home? Because I used to take the train and the bus to get home from the school. And then he started tutoring me a little bit in math. And then he took me out to dinner. And then one thing led to another one. They ultimately got married. I had 4 kids, and Jeffrey had 2. 3 years later, we ended up having 1 together. So total it was 7 kids we raised together.
Though with so many mouths to feed, Jeffrey had to put his dreams on hold.
They were just doing the best they can to help support this family. He became a security guard. In that way, we won't have to worry about somebody babysitting the kids. But see, I worked mornings, he worked afternoons.
Money was often tight. But in 1996, an unbelievable stroke of luck would change Deborah and Jeffrey's lives forever.
They bought a scratch-off ticket, and they won $20 million in the lottery. Our life took a whole drastic change after that.
After winning the lottery, Jeffrey lived a good life. He spent lavishly on himself and his wife.
We moved way out in the south suburbs. The kids went to really good schools, and the money gave us the opportunity to travel and go places that we never thought we would be able to go.
He bought houses and cars for his parents and his siblings. He took some 38 people of his extended family on a cruise. He also gave back to his community through his church, and he helped people in need.
He was just very generous with this money.
But becoming a millionaire overnight had a hidden cost.
Jeffrey head got really big. A lot of places we would go, if people didn't serve us right or talk to us, he would throw that out there. You don't know who I am. I could buy this place. When you come into money, you don't have to be so vocal with it. Everybody don't need to know.
Jeffrey's newly inflated ego wasn't the only sore spot in his and Deborah's marriage.
Jeff decided to have an extramarital affair.
4 years younger than Jeffrey, Katrina Jackson was a single mom struggling to raise 2 kids of her own.
He met her and wanted to help her, and one thing led to another.
Soon, Jeffrey and Katrina were embroiled in a passionate affair.
I found out about it, and I confronted him about it. And Jeffrey ended up, he packed his clothes, and I told him, if you leave, I'm not taking you back. I'm not coming to get you. I'm not going to do any of those things because we're married. And I decided I'm going to put my foot down. If you walk out this door, you're not going to never come back.
In 2001, Jeffrey and Deborah officially divorced.
It was an amicable split.
He took half of the money and I had half.
Once the ink was dry on his divorce, Jeffrey married Katrina Jackson.
They were totally taken with each other. Very happy.
Shortly after tying the knot, Jeffrey and Katrina decided to make a fresh start and left the Windy City for the Sunshine State.
And within a couple of years, they ended up moving down to Florida, here in the Tampa area.
Katrina's younger sisters, Terry and Victoria Jackson, soon joined them in Tampa.
Jeffrey is providing a very comfortable life for not only his wife, but also her 2 younger sisters.
Though youngest sister Victoria faced problems that money couldn't solve.
At the age of 15, Victoria found her father dead in the garage.
He had hung himself and killed himself, and she's the one who located him. So there were definitely issues.
Having gone through this traumatic event in her life at an early young age, she started using drugs, and she was going down a really, really bad path, hanging around the wrong crowd.
Jeffrey saw the move to Florida as a chance for Victoria to make a fresh start and get her life back on the right track.
He was stepping in as being that, father figure.
He assisted her with all her bills and given her a place to live.
Vicky, did you end up getting that class registered?
I did. I got it all squared away, and I got into that accounting class.
That's
That's
good.
what I'm saying. You a natural.
He's provided for Victoria to go into school. He's provided work for Terry.
Jeffrey's wealth not only allowed him to support Katrina and her sisters, it enabled him to fulfill his lifelong dream.
He opens up a Chicago-style popcorn store.
When we was in Chicago, probably every Sunday, that would be our Sunday adventure, was to go downtown to get on the train or just take a drive down and get popcorn from Garrett Popcorn. It has like the best cheese, caramel popcorn. You could buy the caramel with the pecans on it. It's really big in Chicago.
Jeffrey's popcorn became a hit in Tampa, too.
It was in our Channelside district, which is a vibrant location, a lot of nightlife.
The business is doing really well.
Successful business owner, lottery winner, happy husband and father. It seemed like Jeffrey Dampier had it all.
Jeffrey has realized his lifelong dream. He's providing for his family. Everything is going well and great in his life.
But on the night of July 26, 2005, 9 years after a scratch-off ticket changed his life, it appears Jeffrey's extraordinary luck has suddenly run out.
Neighbors found the abandoned van with Jeffrey inside, his hands tied with shoestring, blunt force trauma to his head, and a single gunshot wound.
When police arrive, they run the plates on the van.
It comes back to Mr. Jeffrey Dampier.
When you looked at the photograph that he had on his driver's license and compared it to the male that was in the van, we were pretty certain it was Jeffrey Dampier.
The address on Jeffrey's driver's license also places him pretty far from home.
He lived 14 miles away in Fishhawk. What is he doing way out here and in this condition?
Homicide detectives from the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office are summoned to the scene. As they survey the carnage, they have no idea this is just the first step in a twisted investigation that will ultimately prove true that time-tested adage, more money, more problems.
This was a targeted attack.
Nearly a decade after winning the lottery, multi-millionaire Jeffrey Dampier was living his dreams in the suburbs of Tampa, Florida.
But it was a good place to, get a fresh start and move from the hustle and bustle of Chicago down to sunny Florida and kind of start this new life.
He bought a beautiful home, launched a successful business, and was able to support his family.
But on July 26, 2005, Jeffrey's winning streak comes to a sudden end.
Jeffrey Dampier was found deceased inside a conversion van in the Seffner area of Hillsborough County. He had been shot in the back of the head.
They called me and said, when they found Jeffrey, they said somebody killed him, he'd been shot. I was like, what?
At the scene, detectives quickly determined the van is the scene of the crime.
There was a lot of blood and blood spatter on the side of the seat.
A shell casing was in the van.
I believe it was a 9mm.
But why would someone shoot Jeffrey? The condition of his body offers detectives what appears to be a crucial clue.
They found Jeffrey with his hands tied with shoestring. Their concerns and thoughts immediately go to a robbery and a kidnapping.
Definitely an indication the person was taken against his will.
Desperate to learn more, detectives turned to the neighbors who'd called 911.
How'd you first notice the van?
It come screeching to a halt and kind of caught my attention.
He described 3 people that he had seen running from the van.
3 African Americans.
Did you see anything else?
One of them was definitely a woman. I know this because I spoke to her.
He engaged, had a conversation with them, and they told him that they ran out of gas.
Acting on this new information, detectives order a massive search of the area.
Obviously, the sheriff's department would send that information out to deputies in the streets to try to see if there's anyone in that vicinity that matches that description.
There's units being dispatched all over the place looking for any persons that could be walking. You're going to have your aviation unit that's going to be up and shining light, attacking that area fast and hard.
While the manhunt unfolds, detectives head off to question Jeffrey's widow, Katrina.
Considering the witness identified one of the suspects as a young African-American female, they don't know if Katrina's even home.
Though when detectives knock, it's Katrina who answers.
Mrs. Dampier?
Yes?
We're here from the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Department. Your husband Jeffrey's van was found abandoned outside of Seffner early this evening.
They don't tell her anything about Jeffrey being dead.
Is everything okay?
That's what we're trying to figure out, man.
We have to get as much information from her as we can without showing our hands initially too much.
Do you know where your husband is now?
No, I was actually starting to worry.
His wife had actually had plans to meet Jeffrey for dinner that evening.
She knew that he had closed the store and then he was on his way there, and that was the last she knew.
He never showed up and he's not answering his phone.
She had made it clear that she had been trying to get a hold of him.
But is this the truth or a cover story?
They're really trying to gauge her reaction. It's obviously law enforcement, they're trained in trying to, detect deceit or lies.
It is a delicate balance because she's a true victim of his murder and she lost her husband. The last thing that needs to be done is her to be treated any differently than a true victim. And at that point, it's time to tell her that, there's an incident that occurred.
I'm afraid we have some bad news about your husband.
When detectives finally tell Katrina that Jeffrey is dead, her reaction isn't what she would expect.
She wasn't super emotional. It wasn't screaming and, crying or anything.
Can you think of anyone who might have wanted to harm your husband?
She didn't know of anybody who would want to do this to him.
How would you describe your relationship with your husband?
It's good. Was good.
She describes a relationship with Jeffrey, a loving relationship, that they were both faithful to each other.
But what Katrina says next raises a red flag with detectives.
Do you think this had anything to do with the lottery money?
She tells them Jeffrey had won millions in the lottery a few years earlier.
According to Katrina, he wasn't shy about it either.
He carried around too much cash, but he wasn't afraid if anybody watched him.
While Katrina seems to point the finger at a random robber, detectives can't help but think she's the one with the most to gain from Jeffrey's death.
$10 million is a huge motive for murder. And with that kind of money at stake, she could have easily hired the 3 people in the van.
So far, there's nothing connecting her to the crime, but there's nothing ruling her out either.
There's all kinds of different scenarios that we faced in those type of investigations, and it could have been easily that his wife was involved.
There's nobody that can corroborate her account of the evening.
As detectives are concluding their interview with Katrina, a sheriff's deputy 14 miles away in Seffner spots a young woman walking along the roadside not far from the crime scene.
They believe that she may have been one of the subjects who actually ran from the van as she fit the general description.
The deputy pulls to the side of the road in order to speak to the young woman.
She's asked for an explanation of why she's out on a Tuesday night just wandering the streets.
She tells them that she had gotten into a fight with her girlfriend, and she was just out walking around.
Just waiting for her to calm down before I go back.
She's, disheveled. She's kind of despondent.
You need a police report or anything?
No.
Anybody we can call for you? Any place we can take you?
You can call my sister, Katrina Dampier.
That's when the woman identifies herself as Terry Jackson, Katrina Dampier's younger sister.
It turns out that her sister is Jeffrey Dampier's wife.
Ma'am, can you step forward this way?
Why would Katrina's sister be found just a mile away from the crime scene?
Barely an hour after finding lottery winner Jeffrey Dampier shot to death, Hillsborough County, Florida sheriff's deputies have just stopped to question a young woman walking down the street near the crime scene.
They determined that it was Terry Jackson, who was the sister-in-law of Jeffrey, the victim.
This is a bombshell discovery for law enforcement.
Detectives are already interviewing Jeffrey's wife, Katrina, and now officers have found her sister Terry wandering around near the murder scene. There's almost no way it could be a coincidence.
Ma'am, can you step forward this way? We need to take you in for some questions. Just walk over here in front of this car, though. We're going to make sure you ain't got any weapons.
They wanted to take her in for an interview.
As they pat Terry down, sheriff's deputies make another telling discovery.
When they empty out her pockets, there's a wad of bills, almost $2,400 worth.
Where'd she get that money from?
It's very unusual to have $2,400 of cash just in your pocket on a Tuesday night.
The officers transport Terry to the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office for questioning. Once detectives at the Dampier residence conclude their interview with Katrina, they head back to the station to take a run at Terry.
She had explained to the deputy that she just had a domestic incident with her significant other and was just upset and was trying to get away from that interaction.
But when they asked her how she'd ended up near the scene of her brother-in-law's murder, her story suddenly changes.
She said that she was kidnapped and she was a victim too.
According to Terry, the killer hadn't just kidnapped Jeffrey. He'd also kidnapped Terry and her younger sister, Victoria.
He tied up Jeff and he forced me and Vicky into the van.
Not only does Terry claim that she witnessed the murder, she says she can identify the killer.
According to Terry, the mastermind behind Jeffrey's murder is her sister Victoria's boyfriend, Trey Jackson.
He actually was her boyfriend back in Chicago. But Trey had a sketchy, shady kind of past and was known as a troublemaker.
He'd done time in jail, and he was a violent person.
He'd been affiliated with the gang.
In fact, Trey was one of the people Jeffrey and Katrina were trying to get Victoria away from when they moved her down to Florida.
Once she moved to Tampa, the relationship kind of went away.
Though 1,000-mile separation couldn't keep the young lovers apart.
He had recently just moved down to Florida and started living with Victoria. Even though family and friends kind of warned Victoria to stay away, there was just something about Trey that just wouldn't let her do that.
According to Terry, Trey wasn't around when she'd gone over to Victoria's place earlier that evening.
Like a regular day, we come over and watch movies.
Terry explains that when she gets there, she thinks that they're just going to hang out. But once she arrives, Victoria says she's going to call Jeffrey, and she's going to try to get Jeffrey to come over.
She asked Jeffrey to come over because she needed to get more money from him.
He paid her rent for her apartment. He took care of her.
Terry says that while there was nothing unusual about Victoria hitting Jeffrey up for cash, what her sister did next was strange.
Victoria tells her when Jeffrey's getting ready to come over for her to hide in the bedroom.
She found it very odd because, that was her brother-in-law.
Still, Terry says that she went into the bedroom as Victoria asked.
I sat down on the bed, on the edge of the bed.
Terry says she waited while Victoria and Jeffrey talked.
According to Terry, Victoria and Jeffrey had only been talking a few minutes when she heard a commotion.
Trey showed up and she heard everyone arguing.
When she comes out, she's shocked to see, Trey with the gun holding it to Jeffrey's head.
What's going on?
What do you mean what's going on? You shut up. That's what's going on.
Terry explained that Trey and Victoria were trying to rob him.
Talking about what, huh?
Victoria!
Huh? Shut up!
Jeffrey was saying things along the lines of, don't shoot, I'll give you what you want.
Jeff was like, I can go to the bank. Trey like, fuck that. You ain't going to no bank. What you got in that safe?
Their initial plan was to go to his popcorn shop in Channelside to see if they can get him to open the safe and retrieve more money from there.
Terry says she looked on in horror while Victoria tied Jeffrey's hands with a shoestring.
And where did that shoestring come from?
Out of a boot. Out of my little sister's boots.
Then, according to Terry, Trey forced all of them into Jeffrey's van.
He was like, come on, we all finna go to the bed. He kept rushing Jeff, like, run, run, run. He was like, Vicky, you better get your ass in the car, get in the car, Ted. And I was, you know what I'm saying? I don't want this, I don't want this. Why you doing this to him? He's like, get in the car. So I did.
She felt forced by gunpoint and threatened that she had to do what he said, otherwise she would be victimized as well.
He's like, if I let you out, I'm gonna shoot you. And I know he meant what he said.
When they ultimately get into the van, Victoria is driving. Trey is sitting in the front passenger seat with a gun, and he's ordering Victoria to drive.
Terry says that at some point on their way to the popcorn shop, Trey was overcome with rage.
Terry says that Trey begins to pistol whip Jeffrey.
He was hitting him in the head with the pistol.
Terry was supposedly in the very back of the van, scared to death.
Uh-huh. That's right. There ain't gonna be nothing to say. There ain't gonna be nothing to say. Shut up! Shut up! You want some?
Sometime during the drive, they were on Interstate 75 heading northbound. Trey told her to pull over.
Trey switches seats with Victoria, and he gets in the driver's seat, and he gives the gun to Victoria, and he orders Victoria to hold the gun on Jeffrey's head. While Victoria has the gun on him, they're searching through his pockets to get more money.
At this point, Mr. Dampierre is not even a threat to anybody. He's bound, face down in his van.
Jump down there like, man, I give you whatever you want. I get it. Just let me go. Just say, fuck that shit. Vicky, shoot him.
Terry says that Trey is basically telling Victoria, do it, just shoot him, just do it.
Pull the trigger. I said pull the trigger. You pull the trigger on him.
He starts screaming at her to shoot him, shoot him, shoot him, shoot him, shoot him. And he just keeps yelling it, and she pulls the trigger.
Victoria, you shot.
That's what hurt. And then when I looked back over to see, it was blood just squishing out his head. The back of his head.
Judging from her emotional reaction, Terry is clearly rattled by what's transpired. Once she recovers her composure, Terry describes what happened next.
They go into this neighborhood, but it has a dead end. So the van stops, and Terry indicates that she jumps out the door and starts running.
He didn't even completely stop. I jumped out and I just started running.
Why did they turn down that street?
I don't know. He was driving.
Terry says that once she jumped out of the van, Trey and Victoria followed.
I looked back and it was a neighbor talking to my little sister. But Trey was trying to chase me, so I don't know what happened after that. I just winded up in a big circle.
Everything about Terry's story seems to fit with what detectives already know about the murder.
That doesn't mean detectives believe Terry is necessarily the innocent victim she claims to be.
Why didn't you tell the police when they stopped you on the side of the road?
She tried to say that she had just been out after having an argument with her girlfriend.
I was scared. I didn't know what to do. I'm being honest.
There's also the matter of the $2,400 Terry had in her possession when police initially detained her.
Where did that money come from?
From Vicky before Jeff even came over. I already had it in my pocket.
Even if Terry is telling the truth, there's one thing that detectives are still struggling to understand.
One of the things that we were concerned about is why Victoria and Trey had to kill Jeffrey.
Dampierre's paying for everything for her. He's living on this guy's dime.
Detectives can think of one possible answer: Victoria and Terry's sister, Katrina.
If Katrina's behind the murder, maybe that was the arrangement. Kill Jeffrey for her, and she'll make sure the money kept flowing.
But according to Terry, it wasn't money that sparked the attack on Jeffrey.
She reveals that Victoria and Jeffrey were actually having an affair.
Jeffrey was having an affair with your sister, Vicky?
Yes.
Hours after lottery winner Jeffrey Dampierre's brutal murder, his sister-in-law Terry Jackson has just revealed a shocking secret.
So Jeffrey was having an affair with your sister?
Yes.
This really takes detectives by surprise because not only is Jeffrey married to Terry's older sister, Katrina, he's also sleeping with her younger sister, Victoria.
Terry claims the affair had been going on for years. It had started before Jeffrey and Katrina were married, back when they were still dating.
She ended up saying that it had started many years before, when Victoria was even underage.
Despite the fact that the affair had allegedly been going on for years, Terry insists that her sister Katrina is completely unaware that her husband is sleeping with their baby sister Victoria.
Terry indicated that it was supposed to be a secret.
This is a deep, dark secret that no one in the family knew about.
Now that Jeffrey's dead, detectives wonder if that secret had finally gotten out, with deadly consequences for Jeffrey.
She could have had Jeffrey killed after learning that he had been having an affair with her sister.
However, detectives also realize that Katrina isn't the only one with the motive.
Terry says that Victoria's boyfriend, Trey Jackson, actually knew about the affair between Victoria and Jeffrey.
But Trey was basically pimping Vicky. She get money from Jeff and give it to her.
He wasn't, happy with it. He also didn't discourage it either. I mean, he was a beneficiary of it.
He essentially was living in an apartment that was being paid for by Jeffrey. So I think there was maybe some sort of male competition or feelings of jealousy from Trey towards Jeffrey.
So now detectives are wondering if Trey had cooked up the whole murder and kidnapping in order to get Jeffrey out of the way.
Terry is telling law enforcement his anger about this affair is coming out while this kidnapping is taking place. He's pistol whipping Jeffrey. He's cursing at him, calling him derogatory terms. He's referencing this affair between them.
As she tied him up, Trey steady saying, yeah, you think you slick, you fucking sister. You married to one and you fucking my girl.
Terry's statement also leaves detectives wondering about Victoria's level of involvement.
Victoria called him up and invited him over to her place. She lured him there.
But does that mean she was manipulated by Trey, or had Victoria manipulated him? Could she be the one behind this whole plot as revenge on Jeffrey?
Finally, detectives aren't convinced that Terry's the innocent bystander she's made herself out to be.
Was she more involved than what she indicated? It definitely appears that way.
There are a lot of questions, so they're trying to figure out, is what Terry is telling them the truth? But really, more importantly, they know they need to find Trey and Victoria.
Detectives start with the apartment where the kidnapping supposedly took place.
They may have been thinking about going back to the apartments. The apartment was empty.
With Trey and Victoria still at large, the search expands across southern Florida.
We had some local addresses that we started to check with patrol personnel, and we put out alerts to surrounding agencies.
And since they're suspected of killing a well-known local businessman and millionaire lottery winner, the local media soon picks up the story.
We had their pictures, pretty much plastered all of the news networks and online. It was blasted throughout the state of Florida.
In the meantime, Terry Jackson continues to cooperate with the investigation.
In addition to all the information she's already given, Terry also gives law enforcement information about where they could find the murder weapon.
Terry tells the law enforcement officers that when they're leaving, she hears like a clink and believes that Trey has thrown the gun away.
We actually physically took her out there because there's some heavily wooded areas, kind of marshy areas that can be in there, and walk her physically through. And sure enough, we located the gun.
We found a Glock 9mm handgun, which was thrown into a field near the crime scene. This field is the same location where Terry Jackson gave us the information where it could be.
It's the same caliber as the shell casing found in the back of the van, but it would take ballistics testing to confirm that it's a murder weapon.
While a ballistics team processes the Glock 9mm, detectives sit down with Jeffrey's widow, Katrina Dampier, for a follow-up interview.
Anytime we have this kind of case, anybody who's close to that person could be a suspect. Jeffrey's wife, right off the bat, maybe she is involved.
Detectives start by broaching the subject of her husband's alleged affair with her youngest sister.
No.
Katrina breaks down so completely that detectives are convinced that her reaction is genuine.
Jeffrey's wife had no clue that there was actually a relationship going on behind her back.
Further questioning convinces detectives that Katrina was completely unaware of the plot to kidnap her husband.
They subpoena her phone records, and it does check out that she had been trying to call Jeffrey throughout the night.
They never uncover any communication between her and her sisters that would suggest that she'd orchestrated anything.
While detectives have ruled out Katrina Dampier as a suspect in her husband's murder, Another day passes before authorities get their first lead on Trey and Victoria's whereabouts.
A family member from Jacksonville contacted police and essentially told them that they were a cousin and that they knew that Trey would be coming to their house.
Trey wanted to get a car and actually purchase a car from this relative to get out of town.
Tipped off by Trey's cousin, authorities swing into action.
The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office set up surveillance at Trey's cousin's house.
Sheriff's Department, don't move. Hands up, where do we see them?
It's been 2 days since Tampa area businessman Jeffrey Dampier's murder, and authorities have just cornered their prime suspects. Jeffrey's sister-in-law, Victoria Jackson, and her boyfriend, Trey Jackson.
Trey's cousin had contacted police in Jacksonville and told them that Trey was coming to his house looking to purchase a car.
So at that point, law enforcement coordinates with this cousin so that they can apprehend Trey and Victoria when they make it to the cousin's house.
Bree, show me your hands. Turn around, face the car.
The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office were able to take them into custody without incident.
A quick search determines that Trey is unarmed, but not empty-handed.
When the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office took Trey into custody, they did find about $2,000 in cash in his pocket. In this cash, there were several bloodstains.
Jacksonville police coordinate with authorities in Tampa, and that afternoon, both Trey and Victoria are extradited back to Hillsborough County for questioning.
And we flew up there to interview them once they were arrested.
They had Trey in one separate secure interview room, and Victoria was in a separate secure interview room.
Detectives talk to Victoria first.
If she did indeed shoot him, she's going to have some type of remorse. She didn't fit the bill to be a cold-blooded killer.
Ms. Jackson, let me start by saying, how do you know Jeffrey Dampier?
My sister's husband. And me and him had a relationship going on the side.
While Victoria admits to the affair, she denies having anything to do with Jeffrey's murder.
Victoria claimed that Jeffrey had come over and that they had talked inside Jeffrey's van, and then Jeffrey left, and Victoria went back into the house.
He was on his way back to the store.
Okay.
And after that, I didn't talk to him.
When detectives reveal that Terry has already told them everything, Victoria's story and her demeanor suddenly change.
She put her head down and began to cry and began to admit actually what had occurred.
Victoria starts to tell the detectives what I believe to be the true story of her calling Jeffrey and essentially luring him to the apartment so that he can be robbed.
Did you plan on robbing him?
I didn't plan on it, but I knew what was going to happen.
Okay. Were you forced to do it, or you just kind of went along with it?
It was forced.
You were forced? And who is it that forced you?
Trey.
Victoria's story is pretty consistent with Terry's story.
However, the interview does reveal one glaring discrepancy between Terry's account and that of Victoria.
When Jeff knocks on the door, where is Trey at?
He in the bedroom with my sister.
According to Victoria, Terry is no innocent bystander. Instead, she had been a willing accomplice.
She's basically saying is that it was Terry and Trey who were the actual people who were planning this.
She said that Trey and Terry wanted to rob Jeffrey of his money.
And Victoria says that she was bait for the trap.
Hey, baby girl. So, where Trey at?
He won't be back for a while.
Oh, good.
Trey and my sister come out the room. My sister had a knife, and Trey had the gun, and they told him not to move.
At this point, they removed money out of his pocket.
He's like, "That's all the money I got on me."
Did you see him take it out of the pocket?
No, my sister took it out of his pocket.
Do you know how much money it was?
No.
Victoria also claims that it was Terry who tied up Jeffrey, not her.
Do you know what she tied him up with?
No, I wasn't looking, paying attention.
Victoria was asked to go get his van. She went out to the parking lot, went and got the van, and pulled it closer to the front door of her apartment. As she pulled up, she said that Trey and Terry were walking Jeffrey towards the van, and they were on either side of him and pushed him into the passenger side of the van. They forced him to lay face down in between the seats, same as he was found when he was found deceased.
When asked how Jeffrey ended up dead, Victoria and Terry's stories suddenly converge.
He had me the gun. He told me, Vicky, do it. Vicky, shoot.
Say that again?
Vicky, do it. Shoot him.
She admits that she shoots Jeffrey.
I just closed my eyes and turned my head and pulled the trigger.
He was over her, telling her to do it, but ultimately it was her finger. She pulled the trigger and killed the man she'd been having an affair with.
This was not something that, Victoria wanted to do. She said they really had plans to get married and have a future with each other.
Did y'all get engaged at some point?
Yes.
How long ago was that?
Last year.
Last year? Okay. And did he buy you a ring?
Yes.
Did you love Jeff?
But according to Victoria, she feared Trey more.
I pressed her why did she shoot him, why she kept following the orders of Trey throughout this whole robbery. She just said that she was scared of Trey and he had battered her in the past.
Did he threaten to kill you?
Yeah.
Victoria was really trying to emphasize to law enforcement that, she really had no choice in this matter. There was no reason for her to want to have Jeffrey killed or want to do him any harm because they loved each other.
Is there anything that you also would like to say?
Just want to apologize to my family and his, especially my sister, my little nephews.
Are you remorseful about what happened?
Yeah.
She was very emotional. Towards the end of the interview,
She's been having a relationship with Jeffrey Dampierre for years, so there had to have been some type of feelings there.
When detectives questioned Trey Jackson, he proves a much tougher nut to crack.
he was very nonchalant about the whole thing and wanted to know why he was being arrested. And I tried to explain to him that we were investigating Jeffrey being murdered.
Complain about what? I don't know nothing.
Trey, you don't want to play that card.
He tells them that he don't know what happened. He don't know about a murder. He don't know nothing.
He says that he was aware that Victoria had invited Jeffrey over to the apartment, so that he decided to leave and go play basketball.
We obviously knew he was not being honest with us.
His mindset was not to be cooperative.
Detective Morgan thought of an idea to bring Victoria into the room to see if he would come off his story.
It's a common law enforcement technique to let one person know that, you know, the gig is up and your counterpart has already told us what happened. So now it's your chance to get your side out there. And a lot of times people who commit crimes together believe that they have a pact, that they're not going to snitch or they're not going to talk to law enforcement. And certainly people that are in a relationship with each other tend to think that that bond is stronger and can't be broken by law enforcement. That's not always the case.
We brought her and she was sitting there crying and looked at him and told him that it was over. You know, I told him everything.
Trey, just tell him.
Trey Jackson has refused to admit playing any role in the murder of millionaire lottery winner Jeffrey Dampierre. But detectives have one more card to play: his girlfriend and confessed accomplice, Victoria Jackson.
They got Victoria and brought her in to speak to him. And essentially when Victoria came in, she basically told Trey, listen, they know everything.
The exchange between the two of them, obviously it changed. It changed everything.
Trey has an emotional reaction as well. He starts to cry and tells the detectives, listen, I feel bad about what happened and I'm ready to tell you what happened.
Trey gave us the exact same story that Victoria did.
Identical in all but one detail.
Trey claims that the shooting was entirely accidental, that Victoria had the gun on Jeffrey and the gun went off when the van went over a bump.
Detectives don't buy it for a minute.
I think the intent was to kill Jeffrey. He wanted him out of the picture so he could have Vicky to himself.
Despite Trey's insistence that the shooting was an accident and Victoria's claim that she'd been coerced into pulling the trigger, their confessions are more than enough to charge both with murder and kidnapping.
I pretty much was relieved. They took away something really, really important. Somebody that was special in my life, in my children's life.
Charging Victoria's sister Terry, however, proves more complicated.
We know she was a principal in this matter based on statements from Victoria and Trey. However, we can't use defendant's statements against Terry in the state of Florida as evidence.
Without those statements, there's little to connect Terry to the crime.
We don't have any physical evidence to disprove beyond a reasonable doubt that Terry was actively involved in this outside of the words of Vicky.
There's plenty that implicates Trey and Victoria, though.
When they were arrested, Trey had money that had blood on it.
That came back to the DNA profile of Jeffrey Dampier.
The clothing that Victoria was wearing when this crime occurred. Jeffrey's blood was on her shorts.
Prosecutors also have the murder weapon.
Comparing the ballistics on the gun to the bullet recovered from Jeffrey, it was the firearm that had fired the bullet.
Which leads prosecutors to make a difficult decision.
Terry Jackson was not charged in this crime.
There's no physical evidence that's tying her to prosecute her for the crime of murder.
Sometimes it's a necessary calculation to make someone that doesn't have 100% clean hands a witness instead of a defendant.
When her sister Victoria goes on trial, the prosecution calls Terry to testify.
Terry's the only one that was in that van besides Victoria and Trey.
She testified against Victoria and against Trey during the trial and never implicated herself in the process.
Though Terry's testimony spells out just how the murder went down, she tries to explain to the court that her little sister was coerced into participating in the crime.
She's trying to minimize Victoria's role, but we expect that from her because that's her sister. But that doesn't discount the fact that, or at least the state is saying, we don't believe that part. We believe that she knew what she was doing.
However, Terry's testimony can't overcome one crucial fact that all three people in the van that night agree on.
Victoria is the one who pulled the trigger.
When it's the defense's turn, they double down on the theory that Victoria was a puppet, not the perpetrator.
Her defense really was a duress defense. Victoria was trying to essentially blame everything on Trey.
The jury disagrees.
She was convicted of murder in the first degree.
It's an automatic life sentence in the state of Florida.
When Trey Jackson stands trial 6 months later, his attorneys flip the script and blame Victoria for Jeffrey's murder.
Trey's defense strategy was basically to argue that while he was involved in the robbery, he really didn't have any involvement with the actual murder itself.
Their point was she's the one who killed him. He's not the bad guy.
Once again, the argument falls flat.
If you are involved in a crime with another person and somebody dies as a result of that, you are just as culpable, just as guilty as they are. Even though Trey's defense strategy was to say, well, he was just involved in the murder, under the felony murder rule, he would just be just as guilty of the murder as Victoria was, even though he didn't actually pull the trigger.
He was convicted on all counts and sentenced to life in prison.
However, the outcome brings little comfort to those who knew and loved Jeffrey Dampier.
He did have a relationship with that girl. You know, forgive me, I said it. He created that situation and it cost him his life.
Jeffrey won the lottery and decided to have an extramarital affair with a woman who was dating shady people.
Though Jeffrey's story is a cautionary tale, he leaves behind children who try to focus on the love their father gave to his family and friends.
Jeffrey was a really great guy. He was an awesome father. We still sit on his birthday. We all go to his favorite restaurant. That's our little tradition. We always put, post a picture saying, "Happy birthday, Dad." And that how well, you missed and you are well loved.
Jeffrey may have made a few mistakes along the way, but there's no denying that he tried to help people and he loved his family.
A vicious attack involving a high school football star and his friend upends a tight-knit New England community.
My brother was stabbed 19 times. 19 times? It was chaos.
Get a second ambulance for a second victim here. There's a second victim.
You're not telling me that he was dead.
But when investigators dive into this case, they'll uncork a dangerous cocktail of secrets, sex, and control. An explosive combination that will leave two families' lives in ruins.
He got caught in a spiral and felt he had no way out.
He was grooming them to be like a sexual partner.
Really important that you're totally straight with me, because this is not just a random stabbing or slicing up. It's bigger than that.
Everybody who's guilty should have to pay.
What's done in the dark will come to light, but the world's gonna know it.
November 21st, 2013. It's a fall afternoon in the quiet bedroom community of Bloomfield, Connecticut.
Bloomfield is a middle-class community that's directly north of Hartford. It's a nice community, and it's very beautiful, too.
It's a place where one pastime trumps all others in the fall: football.
Bloomfield High School, the team has had such a large or a great amount of success that they have a lot of support. A lot of town members will come out for the games.
Everybody was really excited about the game that they were going to be playing the next day.
But a radio dispatch at approximately 9:15 that evening is about to change the talk of the town.
There are 2 to 3 males fighting outside, possibly at Hill Farm Road. Code 3, please.
Officers immediately arrive on scene. They find a man lying face down on the lawn and a teenager with blood dripping from his hand. Help. The teenager identified himself as Terrence Mitchell. He was co-captain of the Bloomfield High School football team.
What happened to you?
I got stabbed, but my friend, he's hurt worse.
Okay.
What's your friend's name?
Ronald Taylor.
Ronald. Roll over for me, Ronald. Roll over.
He was injured, lying face down on the lawn.
He has blood all over his clothes. He's clearly a man in really bad shape.
Dispatch, I'm going to need an ambulance. I have a black male with multiple stab wounds. Ronald, who did this to you?
He did not name his attacker. They did find that there were stab wounds all over him, his arms, his chest, in addition to his back. He was having difficulty breathing.
Dispatch, you're going to step the ambulance up. He's losing consciousness.
While an ambulance rushes Ronald Taylor to a local area hospital, detectives question Terrence about the incident.
He said 2 people wearing black sweatpants, black shirt, hoodies, tied tight so he couldn't see who they were, attacked them.
But just what had sparked this bloody attack? The answer will bring investigators face to face with a most unlikely suspect and shake this God-fearing community to its core.
That phone call was the most devastating call that I've ever had in my life. It was like the whole world just came crashing down.
Born in Bloomfield, Connecticut in 1995, Terrence Mitchell, or TJ as his friends called him, grew up surrounded by love and strong role models.
TJ Mitchell comes from a good family. His mom is a program manager with a Connecticut school organization, and they run schools and educational programs. And his grandmother works at the Attorney General's office. TJ was a great kid. He felt he was going to go places.
He wanted to go to college to learn engineering, and he wanted to play football. He was like the all-star.
In fact, Terrence was so talented that by the time he turned 15, he was an integral part of Bloomfield High's powerhouse football team.
Bloomfield High School football has a reputation for being an annual division champion or competitor for the championship.
People look up to him as a leader. He was a co-captain of the football team and the state leader with interceptions. He caught 8 interceptions during that season.
By the fall of Terrence's senior year, offers were rolling in for college scholarships.
He was already being offered a Division 1AA or Football Championship Series scholarship.
That was exciting. My understanding from his coach was that he was being set up for a scholarship to go to college and play ball, and that's all he was looking forward to.
Terrence's family was proud of him and the person he was becoming.
As far as everyone in the community was concerned, that success couldn't have happened to a nicer guy.
He has nothing but accolades from his coach and others in the community.
He's a popular kid in school ever since we were in middle school, so he was always one of the most talked about things around.
Not surprisingly, among Terrence's throng of admirers was a bevy of the young beauties at Bloomfield High.
Hey, TJ. How's it going?
I'm cool. You want to do something after school?
Yeah, hit me up.
All right, I'll text you later.
All right.
I would tell him that, you're showing off for the girls. And he would just kind of smile at me and shrug his shoulders, So, yes, he had several female friends.
Though Terrence was known to be something of a flirt, by his senior year, one special girl had captured his heart. Her name was Brittany Jenkins.
Brittany was a classmate of Terrence's. She was smart. She was cute as a button. They were head over heels for each other.
They had been dating, I believe, maybe about 3 or 4 months.
You going to my game Friday, right?
I wouldn't miss it.
All right, you know my girl got to be there.
With graduation just around the corner, it looked like everything was coming up roses for Terrence. But being a local football hero didn't come without its pressures.
The coaches and staff expect excellence from the players, both academically and as citizens and as athletes.
So when the stress got to be too much, Terrence had one friend outside of school who he could turn to, Ronald, a.k.a. City Taylor.
What up, City? About time you got here. You ready for this ass whooping?
Nah, I think you the one ready for the ass whooping.
Terrence met Ronald Taylor through Terrence's stepbrother, who is also Ronald Taylor's cousin.
9 years older than Terrence, Ronald seemed to be living every 18-year-old's dream.
City drove fast cars. He liked music, you know, and video games. It was like stress reliever. You know what I mean?
Who's the champ?
See, I'm done. I'm done.
You can't beat the best.
I'm done playing you, man. Is this all you do all day? You just be sitting here practicing?
Yeah, man. I ain't got school, football, 300 girls chasing me around. This is me.
Ronald, he had a great heart. And if he had your back, he got your back.
In fact, Ronald never missed a Bloomfield High football game and had promised Terrence he'd be there to cheer for him on the night of November 22nd, 2013.
All right, man.
All right. You coming to my game, though?
Have I missed one?
Nah, you ain't missed one, though.
I'll be there.
All right, man.
But now, 24 hours before the big game, Ronald's life hangs in the balance.
He and Terrence Mitchell had allegedly been attacked by several assailants, one of whom was wielding a knife. There was a real question whether or not Ronald was going to survive.
It's just heartless. What could somebody do to you that's that bad?
As investigators begin to piece together what really sparked this horrific attack, they'll uncover a lurid tale unlike anything this quaint town has ever seen before.
He began to lay out a story about the events leading up to this night and about what happened that night. And it's shocking.
For 18-year-old high school senior Terrence T.J. Mitchell, 2013 was supposed to be a year of crowning achievements. A star football player for Connecticut's Bloomfield High, Terrence had a host of college scholarship offers on the table, as well as a beautiful girlfriend that worshipped him.
TJ's a young athlete that's going somewhere.
But on November 21st, 2013, one night before Terrence's final regular season game, his bright future is in jeopardy.
Officers responded to a 911 call. When they arrived, Terrence Mitchell and his close friend, Ronald Taylor, had both sustained knife wounds.
TJ sustained an injury which was far less than that which Ronald has sustained. And he was leading us to believe that two people approached him and Ronald on Quiet Hill Farm Road and for no particular reason began to assault Ronald.
Taylor was obviously not in good shape. There was blood all over his clothes, and he had been stabbed in many places on his body.
Ronald was rushed to the hospital. Terrence was treated on the scene.
News of the attack spreads like wildfire throughout the Bloomfield community.
This number came up, I answered, and it was my cousin calling me, telling me, where's Ronald? And I said, Ronald is home. He's home. They was like, well, I just got a call. Somebody telling me that Ronald was stabbed. And I'm like, what?
All of his family members, including his friends, rushed down to St. Francis Hospital to check on him and his well-being.
But by the time they arrive, the news is devastating.
He's gone. My mother, when I got there, she ended up telling me that he was dead.
Got a call 4 o'clock in the morning from a good friend of mine. And he just told me, he was like, my brother ain't here no more.
Taylor's relatives were extremely upset and distraught.
I couldn't believe it. Ronald was like my son. I, helped take care of him growing up. It was devastating. It was devastating.
Back at the crime scene, detectives received word of Ronald Taylor's death.
This was now officially a homicide investigation.
With a murder investigation now on their hands, detectives turn their attention to the area where the crime occurred.
This attack had occurred outside the home where Terrence was living with his grandmother.
So what do we got here?
I think we found the murder weapon.
They witnessed a snake knife on the ground, and the steak knife was actually broken.
And there's blood droplets leading down the roadway.
Let's go take a look, get some photos.
The blood trail leads detectives to a property across the street and another one up the road. Investigators also observe a black Acura sedan with an open passenger door parked a few houses down.
We got a lot of blood splatter.
Investigators and detectives located a dark sedan, later learned to be that of Ronald Taylor.
They take his car back to the police station and immediately begin to sweep for any type of fingerprints, blood stains, or any other evidence that may give them a clue as to who committed the crime.
But police know their best witness is the other person wounded in the attack, Terrence Mitchell.
You ready to talk about the events that happened tonight?
Yeah, I want to help.
TJ Mitchell reported that on November 21st at about 8 or 8:30 p.m., Ronald Taylor arrived and parked just down the road from TJ's house. TJ went out to the vehicle to meet with him.
So why didn't you guys just meet at your house?
Well, he's older than me, so my parents and my grandparents, they don't really approve of us hanging out.
Do you remember anything that happened from the attack tonight?
TJ said they were standing outside the vehicle on the passenger side with the car door open.
They were talking about an upcoming football game. They had seen a car pass, a Nissan Maxima, and he noticed Taylor looking at the car.
Within about 10 minutes, two black males wearing hoodies pulled tight around their faces such that they couldn't be identified, approached, and without saying a word, began attacking Ronald Taylor. TJ reported that his right little finger had been cut during his flight from the attackers. The attack continued with Ronald and TJ running from their attackers. Across the street, TJ said he fled back behind his own house.
Soon after, Terrence says he heard Ronald's desperate cries.
TJ went back and found that Ronald had been stabbed.
Given the physical evidence, Terrence's story sounds credible. But there is one thing that doesn't quite wash for detectives.
The Hill Farm area is that upper middle class area. This is not the neighborhood that one would expect to find this type of activity.
What Terrence was describing really sounded like a planned hit, like someone decided to follow Ronald, hunt him down, and kill him.
So can you think of any reason why your friend might have been a target?
It's really another reason why I didn't want him, around the house. And I know my parents wouldn't approve. He had some bad business dealings.
He was known by the high school age set to be a good supplier for personal use marijuana.
It could have been a situation where Ronald was beefing with some guy with the whole marijuana business, and now finally this guy's caught up to Ronald.
When detectives follow up on this promising lead, the plot only thickens. It seems this wasn't the first time Ronald Taylor had been at the sharp edge of a knife.
It put like this shadow over us where we was like living in fear. Because at that point, who do you trust? Who can you trust?
Can't trust anybody. It doesn't matter who it is. Your mother, your brother, your lover, anybody. At the end of the day, they're going to do what they want to do.
Just 2 hours ago, 27-year-old Ronald City Taylor was attacked and stabbed to death in the streets of Bloomfield, Connecticut.
Allegedly, two males wearing hooded sweatshirts had approached Ronald Taylor and Terrence Mitchell and attacked them.
Now a second victim on the scene, Ronald's friend, local football star Terrence Mitchell, has furnished detectives with a possible motive.
Taylor was known to be in the drug trade. He's a dealer.
He may have been stabbed for some sort of trouble he was having with his marijuana business.
Typically, we would look at who the suspect pool could be at that time. Could it be, generally speaking, someone's buyer?
To try and identify if this attack could be drug-related, police combed the surrounding neighborhood in search of eyewitnesses.
We were learning from those who had seen or heard something, trying to put together the storyline.
So it's our understanding you might have seen or heard something this evening?
Oh, we were just in the living room. We thought we heard some moaning or
terrible moaning.
something, yeah.
They could hear the sound of other people outside and somebody, making a sound like they were moaning. They look outside and they see one individual's on the ground, another individual standing over him.
One reported seeing two males. The second resident of the same home said that she looked outside and saw two, possibly three people running. TJ said he fled back behind his own house, at which point Ronald fell to the ground and was being both punched and stabbed by the attackers.
Were you able to tell what they were wearing?
No, it's too dark.
They didn't know the color of the people. They didn't have a good description of them.
But if the eyewitness statements are a disappointing setback, maybe there's another way to find Ronald's killer.
A canine was called in to track the two parties involved in this assault.
When a canine track is done, the dog is trained to follow a scent. They start the track from the area where the victims, in this case Terrence Mitchell, says that the suspects were last headed.
As the canine officer works the scene, he soon realizes there's a problem.
It was unknown perpetrators. There's no way to identify to that dog that they're following the right track because there's no scent that they're going off of. Ideally, it's the suspect's track, but sometimes they may end up following someone else who had been standing in that general vicinity.
We're just going in circles at this point.
A dog might have led investigators to the persons responsible or a vehicle nearby. However, no person or vehicle was discovered by the dog in the area. That track proved inconclusive.
With the canine officer unable to sniff out any new leads, detectives perform a routine background check on Ronald Taylor and make a jaw-dropping discovery.
Wasn't the first time he got stabbed. He was stabbed once before.
Roughly 18 months prior to this particular incident, in the summer of 2012, it turned out Ronald had been stabbed in his own home.
Taylor, according to the police report, he was grinding marijuana, and a 16-year-old boy, allegedly, was kind of behind him, and the boy, for some reason, just stabbed him in the side. And apparently he punctured a lung when he did this.
He was transported to the hospital by family members. He recovered from that and then reported the incident to the police department.
An arrest was made. A juvenile was taken into custody for the stabbing of Ronald Taylor.
They transferred this boy's case to juvenile court, and that's closed. So there's no way to get information about disposition of that case, unfortunately.
Detectives wonder, could the same teen have returned to finish off the job? To find out, they decide to have a chat with a young man, Marcus Jackson.
Hey Marcus, got an incident report here from 2012. Looks like you had a run-in with Ronald Taylor, a stabbing incident.
It was an accident.
So you want us to believe you just accidentally stabbed someone?
Yeah.
Have you seen Ronald Taylor since that evening?
No, sir. They told me to stay away from him. That's what I did.
So they looked at Marcus, but his alibi checked out. So once again, they are back at square one.
But this day's not over just yet, and what investigators are about to learn will blow this case wide open and rain down secrets, cold accusations, and just maybe a motive for murder.
What can crush you more than a lifetime of living with everybody knowing your deepest, darkest secret?
For the past 12 hours, detectives in Bloomfield, Connecticut have been investigating the vicious stabbing death of 27-year-old resident Ronald City Taylor.
Ronald and his friend, local football star Terrence Mitchell, were allegedly attacked outside of Terrence's home. There was a legitimate fear this was either drug-related or a targeted crime by another juvenile named Marcus Jackson, who had previously attacked Ronald.
However, as promising as these two leads initially seemed, detectives have yet to find any direct evidence tying Marcus Jackson or anyone else to the crime.
We were sizing up what we had, what we didn't have, which at that time was a solid suspect.
But then, detectives received some new evidence recovered from Ronald's car.
We found 2 cell phones at the scene. One was Terrence's and the other was Ronald's.
Investigators immediately begin searching the content from the devices for possible clues.
When I reviewed the text messages on Ronald's phone, Terrence and Ronald had been texting back and forth.
When detectives read the content of these texts, they can't believe their eyes.
They telling each other that they love each other, talking about seeing each other.
There was some ILYs, ILY2, meaning I love you.
It seemed there was a romantic relationship between them.
Before, Terrence seemed lucky to have survived the attack. Now, detectives wonder, could the 18-year-old teenager have attacked Ronald during a lover's quarrel?
They did suspect that TJ may have had something to do with it.
To find out, detectives ask Terrence to come down to the station for a formal interview. There, they confront him about their suspicions.
There's two theories going on here. One is there actually were two guys that came up and cut you and stabbed. The other theory that's being bounced around is that you and Rondale had some sort of issue, kissing contest or whatever it was, or he, wanted you to do something with him that you didn't want to do, and you ended up basically stabbing him yourself. No, sir.
Terrence's initial statement on scene was that he was attacked by these two unknown assailants. He continued to be adamant about that when he returned to the apartment.
With Terrence sticking to his story, detectives pulled their trump card.
He's dead, right? For real? For real. How close were you to him? Close. How close? Like family close. Family close? Like lover close? We had lovers.
His relationship with Ronald started when he was 15 years old. It became a regular thing where he would go over to see Ronald. They sat around playing video games, and they would give this kid alcohol to drink and also give him weed to smoke with him.
Terrence Mitchell said during the interview that he met Ronald about 2 years prior and that they were friends. They spent a lot of time together, and he would go over his house, party with him, smoke weed, sometimes drink alcohol.
During this time, Ronald made no secret of his interest in Terrence. But Terrence claims for a year he rebuffed the older man's advances.
Mr. Taylor wanted to be more than just friends. TJ Mitchell had told police that he wanted to be just friends.
Then one night, Terrence says, he had a little too much to drink.
He talked about getting drunk and things going to another level.
I was drunk, and it was an experience he did with me ever since then. And I don't know, he just said, like, my energy and the way I act is like, he want me around.
He started talking more about almost being ashamed of the relationship. He was very adamant that he wasn't gay and didn't want it documented anywhere that he had a homosexual relationship with Ronald Taylor.
It was also learned during this investigation that among the high school age set within the community, there was a certain stigma attached to being gay. However, there's a certain social status attached to being bisexual.
Terrence was the star football player, an athlete. He had no shortage of female attention. In fact, he had a girlfriend. So regardless of if this was quote unquote cool, he probably preferred to keep this relationship a secret.
But apparently it was a secret that went both ways.
Terrence wasn't just keeping his relationship with Ronald Taylor a secret from his classmates. He was also keeping his relationship with his girlfriend a secret from Ronald. And apparently, Ronald found out about it a few weeks earlier.
I guess he took it to the heart and started yelling at me.
Terrence says Ronald was overcome with jealous rage. Then he did the unthinkable.
He posted something on Facebook about TJ Mitchell being a, quote, Bloomfield gay football player.
Ronald was essentially using this post or this image or this outing of TJ as a way to keep him in line.
This was online for about 5 hours before it was taken off.
Terrence said Ronald made it very clear if he didn't break up with his girlfriend, they were going to have problems.
He used to say he's going to post it on my mom wall, my grandmother's wall. He didn't care.
So basically he was extorting you?
He says Ronald's behavior became increasingly more erratic. And then just before the murder, it became violent.
Ronald allegedly threatened him. He basically was saying, you're my boyfriend and there's nothing you can do about it.
How did it make you feel that he kept doing that to you?
Made me feel like I was a prisoner. I couldn't leave his jail without a consequence.
It's a shocking story, but could it be a motive for murder?
So after he got out and he started running, what did you do?
I chased him.
In the wee hours of November 22nd, 2013, the truth about Terrence Mitchell and Ronald Taylor's relationship finally came to light.
We learned that they did have an intimate relationship.
Allegedly, Terrence was trapped by Ronald in this relationship because Ronald would consistently threaten him with saying, hey, guess what? I'm going to out you.
Now inside a Bloomfield, Connecticut police station, Terrence is prepared to tell investigators what really happened in the hours leading up to Ronald's death.
TJ had texted Ronald for them to meet to talk later in person.
Terrence and Ronald had been texting back and forth. Ronald is saying, call me when school's about out. I'm ready to listen. And Terrence writes back, no, we need to talk in person.
Ronald called him and said something to him like, I'm coming over and it's not going to end well.
At 9 p.m., Terrence says Ronald pulled up near his house and texted him to come outside.
Given Ronald's alleged statement that things were not going to, quote, end well, Terrence is afraid that Ronald's going to try to harm him.
Terrence took it upon himself to protect himself and took a steak knife outside with him.
Once inside the car, the conversation quickly turned to Ronald requesting to see TJ's phone.
Hey, what's up, man?
Nothing. Who you texting?
When TJ turned his telephone over to Ronald, Ronald saw that the text messages on there, mostly to the women, contained emotions like LOL or a smiley face.
He becomes upset and begins to question TJ on why TJ will not show him the same type of love.
What you mean? You don't never text me like that.
TJ reports that Ronald became increasingly infuriated by the conversation.
Taylor was yelling at him, and he was loud.
No, I kill you. You know that, right? Man, what's wrong with you? Chill out.
He was actually taking his index finger and in the shape of a gun, holding it to him, and he was also like smushing his head. What Taylor said then was that, I want to hit you, like right now. I really want to hit you.
What? Shut up.
Terrence said that Ronald had hit him, and at that point, he pulled the knife out of his pocket and he stabbed him.
TJ stabs Ronald twice, somewhere in the chest. The pasture door where TJ is sitting is open. Ronald flees from the car by crossing over TJ. TJ reports stabbing Ronald one time as Ronald crosses over him.
So after he got out, he started running. What did you do?
I chased him.
What was he saying?
He was saying, take it back, take it back.
Okay, now what happened?
Stop it again.
He actually cut himself with his own knife during the course of stabbing Ronald.
At some point, TJ reports Ronald turned to him with his hands extended, and TJ stabbed him yet again. Ronald falls to the ground, regains his balance, and runs back to TJ's house. TJ stabs Ronald one more time in the lower back. Ronald removes that knife, turns to TJ, and says, I'm dying.
At the end of Terrence's statement, tears well up in the frightened teenager's eyes.
It's like I blacked out when I was stabbing it. Feel like this to happen like this. I just wanted to go my way.
When detectives ask why Terrence lied in the first place, he becomes even more emotional.
Because I was scared. I didn't want.
What took place in Ronald's car between Ronald and TJ was about power and control. Ronald had the power, and TJ decided he would take that power back for himself. Unfortunately, he took the worst of the roads available.
Terrence's confession gives detectives probable cause to place him under arrest for the murder of Ronald Taylor.
It was probably about maybe 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning when they allowed Terrence to call home to tell us that he was being charged with murder. That phone call was the most devastating call that I've ever had in my life. It was like the whole world just came crashing down.
The story of Terrence's double life stuns his family, but what shocks them even more is how this model teenager ended up a killer.
I know my grandson. I've never known him to be a violent person, to hurt anyone. Terrence was, in my eyes, a good kid.
While no one in his family believes Terrence's crime was justified, they do think Ronald Taylor preyed on an innocent young boy.
Terrence was 15 years old when he met him. Come into his house. They can drink alcohol. They can smoke marijuana. They get in a compromising position, and now I got you. So when you have your head on straight the next day and you decide, I don't want any part of that, it's too late, because now I'm going to expose you as being gay.
But when Ronald Taylor's family meets with police, they see matters very differently.
It was all Terrence, because he's the one that texted my son to come and meet him.
To them, Terrence Mitchell is nothing more than a cold-blooded killer hiding behind a claim of self-defense.
We felt like it was premeditated because he told Ronald, I need to talk to you. I need to see you in person.
This was all premeditated.
In fact, they say if Terrence was truly terrified of Ronald, why did he leave the safety of his own home to meet him?
Why are you gonna come out with a knife? You thought about it. It's premeditated. You came out with the intent to hurt him.
They believe Terrence's portrayal of Ronald City Taylor as a violent and controlling person is dead wrong.
Ronald did have a good heart and was not bad, was not controlling. Ronald wouldn't have just punched him or whatever for no reason. No.
He's not just gonna start something with you for no reason. He will not put his hands on you. Like, unless you throw the first blow.
I'm telling you that is bogus bush. Those are my words. You can put that on record. All right? City wouldn't harm a fly.
Within hours of Terrence's arrest, the press latches on to this salacious story.
By the end of Friday, November 22nd, the story had gone from that of local interest to statewide to national interest on part of the media.
Just 24 hours earlier, Terrence Mitchell was Bloomfield's golden boy. Now a stunned community is trying to make sense of this unfathomable crime.
The story gained traction in large part because here was the high school football star accused of murder, and here was a quiet bedroom community now dealing with the aftermath of the entire incident.
It really shocked the community to find out that a young kid with, all the potential in the world could do something like this.
As for Terrence, he's being held on $1 million bail in county lockup.
My daughter went on a spree of collecting money, asking people to help to get him out of jail because she was afraid for him with the charge that he had, with the story behind it of him being in jail.
But before it's all over, more shocking accusations will come to light. Accusations that will keep the community of Bloomfield wondering, will Terrence Mitchell be locked away forever or get away scot-free? On November 22, 2013, stunned residents of Bloomfield, Connecticut wake to the news that 18-year-old star athlete Terrence T.J. Mitchell has been arrested for the stabbing death of his 27-year-old lover, Ronald Taylor.
Our whole community was rocked by this.
Here's a high school kid, very successful football player, co-captain of the football team, a championship football team. He has nothing but accolades from his coach and others in the community. And then all of a sudden, this horrendous crime happens.
Even worse, after reviewing Terrence's confession, Ronald's family suspects that he may not have been the only perpetrator.
TJ's story was that after he stabbed Ronald climbed across from the driver's side to the passenger side to get out that side. But why would somebody that just got stabbed crawl over to the person that just stabbed him?
The only conclusion Ronald's family can reach is that someone else must have been blocking the door. In fact, they say they've heard a rumor going around town that on the night of the murder, Terrence may have been home with a posse of friends.
Most of the football players were at the house.
If that were true, could Terrence's teammates have been the people in hoodies that Terrence claimed were at the scene?
In high school, they gave them football jackets with hoods on them. Almost every one of the football players left practice with the Bloomfield Hawks hooded jacket.
While the family can't say what motivated this gang attack, they feel certain of one thing.
It was not done alone, and everybody who's guilty should have to pay.
In the end, investigators find no evidence to support the family's claim, but are able to reassure Ronald's family that they have a strong case against Terrence Mitchell.
The state side believed there was enough evidence there to charge TJ with murder.
Terrence's story was that he acted in self-defense and that he only stabbed Ronald after he was punched in the face. But authorities have a problem with that account.
The hallmark of self-defense is that you're defending yourself from the attacks of another person. But after Ronald told him, no, I take it back, TJ chased him again and stabbed him several more times. But TJ became the aggressor in the situation and was no longer defending himself from Ronald.
A finding that seems supported by Ronald Taylor's autopsy report.
According to Terrence Mitchell, he attacked Ronald Taylor and stabbed him 5 times during the entire incident. But after the autopsy report came out, it was shown that Ronald Taylor was actually stabbed a total of 13 times and cut 6 times.
Ronald was stabbed 19 times. Do you know how hard it is to stab somebody going through skin, bones, and meat? You know how much energy that takes? 19 times?
But as the shock and the lurid details of the crime begin to sink in with residents, another battle begins to rage, the battle for public opinion.
There were allegations that were made by people, including TJ Mitchell's attorney, who were saying that there was sexual activity going on between him and teenagers, and that he would smoke pot, allegedly, and offer alcohol to these kids to befriend them, and that he was, quote, grooming them to be like a sexual partner.
It was kind of like they were going through his indoctrination process to where he was going to allegedly look at these boys and figure out which one was the most susceptible boy for him to take advantage of. And then after this, making his choice of which boy he wanted, allegedly doing everything he possibly could within his power to keep that one boy in that relationship, you know, regardless of how bad he wanted out.
The defense also points out what they say are disturbing parallels between Terrence Mitchell's case and the other juvenile who stabbed Ronald Taylor.
During the course of that investigation, it was learned that Ronald Taylor did not initially report the stabbing to the police department. However, about a week later, did so. An arrest was made, a juvenile was taken into custody, and during the processing of that juvenile, he made what was then a seemingly innocuous statement, something to the effect of, he's doing this because I didn't visit him in the hospital. And he threatened me, how can I be the one arrested?
There are 2 factors at play here. First, Ronald's potential quest for control over the juvenile suspect who stabbed him. And secondly, the juvenile's allegation that Ronald had previously threatened him. This is something TJ also alluded to during his statement to police.
That kind of made me raise some eyebrows and made me wonder, why did this boy do that to him? Why would this same person be stabbed 2 different times by people younger than him? There was a lot of sympathy for TJ Mitchell. People really felt that he was a victim, despite the horrendous crime that he had committed.
There were Facebook pages and hashtags set up. The community was really coming together to support him.
For Ronald Taylor's family, the outpouring of support for a self-professed killer is stunning.
That was like the most painfulest thing, is just to see that he got an outpour of help, but we're the one that don't have our family member anymore. How are you in support of something that you don't know the full story to? That was my little brother. It was sadness. It was just hurt. And then it turned into anger.
While public opinion continues to shift, prosecutors face another problem.
One of the defense team's theories was that Terrence acted under the sway of extreme emotional disturbance.
Extreme emotional disturbance, you mean that there was something so emotional, so disturbing that caused TJ to lose a part of his sanity and commit this crime. Jury may say, hey, TJ has proved an extreme emotional disturbance just by the nature of being entrapped in his relationship with Ronald. This kid has suffered enough. Let's go ahead and throw out the law and let him go.
Fearing Terrence could walk, the DA's office sits down with Ronald Taylor's family.
The prosecutor had said that he wasn't sure if he could actually get a murder conviction.
Because of his age and some of the technicalities of the case, there's potential that he could walk.
They came to us telling us that they wanted to do a plea.
The proposed deal would reduce the charge from murder to manslaughter and require Terrence Mitchell to serve 12 years in prison.
The family was opposed. We didn't want to do it because no matter what, you took something that was very dear to us. Should he be in jail for 12 years? No. He should spend the rest of his life. Ronald, he got eternal life with God, but he don't have life on earth anymore.
But prosecutors urged the family to reconsider.
They was saying that basically the way it looked because of his age and the control and this, that, and the other, that he could get off and do no time. And we didn't want to risk that happening at all. To go through all that and take a chance of him getting nothing, we chose to get something.
On October 17th, 2014, Terrence Mitchell agrees to accept the state's deal.
Because Terrence was charged with murder, he was facing a 60-year sentence if convicted for murder. My understanding is if he had gone to trial, it could have gone either way. Depends on the jury. So when the prosecutor offered 12 years, we talked it out and we just figured for the charge, for the crime, for what the situation was, taking the plea was the best deal to do.
3 months later, a Connecticut judge sentences Terrence to 12 years in prison.
It was a combination of sadness because he was going to jail for a very serious crime, knowing what that's going to do to him for the rest of his life. But we were also glad that he's not going to spend the rest of his life in jail. So it was a bittersweet.
TJ's a good kid who made a horrible decision.
It's a crime that's left 2 good families devastated, one that ended a man's life and ruined the future of another.
I think the whole case is absolutely tragic. You have a family who has lost a loved one. Ronald Taylor is never coming back, and his family's got to deal with that. Then you have Terrence Mitchell's family. You have a young man who had all the potential in the world, who was looking at scholarships and an amazing football player, and now he's incarcerated. It's a terrible thing to happen to a family. It's a terrible thing to happen to a community, and I just pray it doesn't happen to anyone else.